My name is Daniel Harper, 34 years old, and for most of my adult life, I believed in the kind of love that lasts forever. You know, the storybook kind. I met Emily when I was 24. She was 2 years younger, radiant, ambitious, and had a laugh that could light up a room. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, and I swear, the second I saw her, the noise around me faded. Everything just stopped. For years, we were that couple everyone envied. Two people who seemed to have everything figured out. We built a beautiful home in Denver, traveled when we could, and spent quiet evenings watching old movies, wrapped under a blanket with wine and takeout. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Emily worked as a marketing manager for a tech company, and I was a software engineer for a startup. We had busy schedules, but we always made time for each other. Or at least that's what I thought. Things started to shift about a year ago. It began with little things. Her phone suddenly had a password, she started working late more often, and she was always tired when she came home. I asked her once, jokingly, "What, are you having an affair with your office?" She laughed it off, kissed my cheek, and said, "You're ridiculous, Dan. It's just a busy season at work." I wanted to believe her, but deep down, something didn't feel right. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't being as attentive as I used to be. Maybe marriage just naturally settles into routine. Then came the perfume. One night, she came home around 11:30 p.m., claiming she'd been with her coworkers at a dinner meeting. I hugged her, and there it was, a scent I didn't recognize. It wasn't her usual perfume. It was stronger, muskier, masculine almost. When I asked, she said it must have come from sitting too close to someone at the restaurant. I wanted to believe her again, but that same night, she left her phone on the nightstand when she went to take a shower. Normally, I wouldn't even think of checking it. I trusted her completely. But something in me, it was like a whisper I couldn't silence, told me to look. I picked up her phone, and just as I was about to unlock it, I saw the lock screen light up. A notification popped up. It was from a man named Ryan M. The message read, "Can't stop thinking about last night. You looked incredible." My stomach twisted. Before I could read more, the phone locked again, and I froze. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like my chest would burst. I set the phone back down, exactly how I found it, and stepped back, pretending nothing had happened. When Emily came out of the shower, she smiled like nothing was wrong. She asked me, "You okay, babe?" I nodded, forcing a smile. "Yeah, just tired." But in my head, everything had changed. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing patterns. Ryan M. kept texting her. Sometimes she'd smile at her screen and quickly turn it off when I walked into the room. Sometimes she'd forget her charger at home and say her phone died while working late. Once, I saw her change clothes in the car before heading to a client dinner. She left wearing jeans and a blazer, but returned in a black dress I'd never seen before. The truth was there, hiding in plain sight. Still, I couldn't bring myself to confront her. I needed proof, not assumptions. So I started documenting things. I noted every late night, every lie that didn't add up, every girls' night that ended with her sneaking into bed at 2 a.m. I even installed a small GPS tracker in her car, something I'm not proud of, but at that point, I was desperate. The first night I checked the tracker's history, it showed a location that wasn't her office or any restaurant she'd mentioned. It was an apartment building downtown. And she'd been there for 3 hours. 2 weeks later, on a Wednesday, she told me she'd be home late again, another client meeting. I told her no problem, kissed her cheek, and watched her drive away. As soon as she turned the corner, I grabbed my jacket, keys, and followed her, keeping a few cars behind. She didn't go to the office.
She went straight to that same apartment building. I parked down the street, my heart pounding, and watched as she entered the building lobby. A man came down a few minutes later to open the door for her. Even from the distance, I recognized him. Ryan. I'd seen his photo once on her company's LinkedIn page, a regional director from the LA branch who had been spending a few weeks in Denver for a project. I watched them laugh together, their bodies close, her hand brushing his arm as they stepped into the elevator. That moment broke something inside me. I sat there for an hour, 2. I don't even know how long. When she finally came back out, it was almost midnight. Her hair was messy, her lipstick gone, and she looked different. Not guilty, not ashamed, just alive. When she got home that night, I pretended to be asleep. She slipped quietly into bed beside me, smelling faintly of cologne and guilt. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, and made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her yet. I was going to make her show me the truth herself. Over the next week, I played the perfect husband. I cooked dinner, brought her flowers, even offered to take her on a weekend trip. She seemed surprised by the sudden affection, but she didn't refuse. What she didn't know was that I'd already reached out to someone at her company, a mutual friend of ours named Karen, who worked in HR. Karen and I had known each other for years, and when I asked casually about Ryan, she didn't hold back. Apparently, Ryan had a reputation. Married, but often flirted with his female coworkers. I told Karen to keep it between us, and she agreed.
Then I started preparing. I booked us a weekend at a mountain cabin, a place Emily and I had visited early in our marriage. I told her it was to reconnect. She agreed, with that fake enthusiasm I'd grown used to. But I also knew she'd already made plans that same weekend, with him. I saw the messages on her phone when she accidentally left it on the counter unlocked one morning. Ryan had texted, "Can't wait for this weekend. I'll pick you up Friday after work." She replied with a heart emoji. I took a screenshot and sent it to myself. This time, she wasn't going to lie her way out. Friday came. She kissed me goodbye before work, telling me she'd be home late again. "Big project deadline," she said. "Might be a long one." I smiled, kissed her back, and said, "That's okay. Be safe." Then I packed a small bag, got in my car, and followed her again. At 6:30 p.m., she left the office right on schedule. Ryan's car pulled up, and she got in. They drove off together, heading toward a hotel near downtown. I followed them into the parking lot, parked 2 levels down, and waited. When they got out of the car, she was laughing, her hand resting on his arm like it belonged there. They walked inside together. This was it. This was my confirmation. I sat in my car for a long time, watching that hotel entrance. Every passing minute felt like a knife twisting deeper. I wanted to burst in right then, drag her out, demand to know how she could betray everything we'd built. But that wasn't how I wanted this to end. I didn't just want her to confess. I wanted her to feel the same shock, shame, and helplessness she had made me feel for weeks. So, I pulled out my phone and started recording. The video captured Ryan's car parked in front of the hotel, Emily stepping out, smiling at him, their hands brushing as they walked inside. It wasn't graphic. It didn't need to be. Just seeing her like that told the whole story. I waited another 20 minutes, then I left. That night, I didn't go home. I drove aimlessly through the city, replaying every moment of our marriage in my head. The laughter, the shared dreams, the small lies that now seemed like cracks in a perfect illusion. By the time I got home, the sun was rising. Emily wasn't there. Her car was gone, her side of the bed untouched. When she finally walked through the door at 9 a.m., wearing the same outfit from the night before, I was sitting up a kitchen table with 2 cups of coffee, one for her, one for me. She froze in the doorway. "Morning," I said calmly. "Rough night at the office?"
Her eyes darted everywhere but mine. "Yeah, it was a long one. I didn't want to wake you."
I nodded, sipping my coffee. "No problem. I actually have something I'd like to show you before you get ready." Her smile faltered. "What do you mean?" I turned my phone around and pressed play. The video started, her laughing, stepping out of Ryan's car, brushing his arm, walking into the hotel. Her face drained of color. She didn't say a word, just stood there, frozen, as the sound of her own laughter filled the kitchen. When the video ended, I set the phone down and looked up. "Anything you'd like to tell me?" She blinked, her voice trembling. "Dan, it's not what it looks like." I laughed, not out of amusement, but out of disbelief. "Emily, do you hear yourself? That line only works in movies." Tears welled up in her eyes. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was just—" "Just what?" I interrupted, my voice steady but sharp. "A business meeting? A networking opportunity? Or was it just another night of pretending I didn't exist?" She collapsed into a chair, covering her face. "I'm sorry, Dan. I don't even know why I did it. He made me feel noticed, important. You've been so busy lately, and I just—" There it was, the justification, the victim narrative. I stood up slowly. "You know what's funny? I was busy, working extra hours so we could afford that cabin trip you suddenly didn't have time for. So we could maybe start that family you said you wanted, all while you were spending your nights in some hotel with your boss." She sobbed quietly, her shoulders shaking. I looked at her for a long moment, this woman I had loved, trusted, defended. And then I told her the truth. "I know about all of it. The messages, the apartment, the dingers, the lies. You've been cheating on me for months." She finally met my gaze, her eyes red and hollow. "What are you going to do?" I took a deep breath. "I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to break things. I'm going to let you explain everything to someone else." That same morning, I sent the video to Karen in HR with a short message. "FYI, this is how your regional director spends his business trips." I didn't mention Emily's name, but the footage was clear enough. By noon, both of them were called into a meeting. Emily came home early that afternoon, her face pale, eyes swollen. "They fired him, and I got suspended while they review my conduct." I said nothing. I just nodded, quietly packing a small duffel bag with clothes. "Where are you going?" she asked, panicked. "Somewhere I can breathe," I said. "You'll get the divorce papers in a few days." "Please, Dan," she begged, grabbing my arm. "Don't throw everything away. We can fix this. I love you." I turned to her, meeting her eyes one last time. "You don't get to use that word anymore." Then I left. The next few weeks were a blur. I moved into a small apartment downtown, focused on work, tried to rebuild a sense of normalcy. Friends and family called constantly, offering support, advice, pity. I didn't need any of it. I just wanted silence. But karma, as it turns out, didn't waste any time. A month later, Karen called me again. "You'll want to know this," she said. "Ryan's wife found out. He's being sued for harassment by another employee. And Emily, she's been let go permanently." I didn't say anything, just thanked her and hung up. Later that night, I sat on my balcony, staring out at the city lights. For the first time in months, I felt calm. It wasn't triumph. It wasn't joy. It was something quieter. Closure. 2 months later, Emily called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me.
"Hi," she said softly. "I know you probably don't want to talk to me." "You're right," I replied. "But go on." Her voice cracked. "I wish I could take it all back." "You can't," I said quietly. "But maybe one day you'll understand why I had to let you face the consequences. Not to hurt you, just to show you what betrayal costs." She sniffled. "You really loved me, didn't you?" "I did," I said. "Enough to never forgive you for destroying it." And then I hung up. I won't pretend it was easy. Healing never is. But little by little, I started rebuilding. I joined a gym, took weekend trips, spent time with people who reminded me what honesty felt like. One afternoon, I ran into Karen at a coffee shop. She smiled, surprised to see me looking healthier. "You seem good," she said. "I am," I replied. Finally. She nodded. "You know, you did the right thing. You handled it better than most people would have." I shrugged. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted her to understand what she'd done. And maybe, just maybe, she'll think twice before breaking someone else's life. Karen smiled. "That's what makes you different." Looking back now, I realized something important. Infidelity isn't just about what happens between two people in secret. It's about the quiet erosion of trust, the way love turns into something unrecognizable. Emily thought she could have both lives, the stability of our marriage and the thrill of something forbidden. But in the end, she lost them both. And I found myself again. The night I walked away, I didn't just leave my wife. I left behind the man who doubted, who questioned, who begged for honesty. Now, I know my worth.